Well, this will always be fun because we never know when things are actually going to be starting. But my name is Hillary Baggett, and I wonder who out there feels overwhelmed or paralyzed at the thought of being on camera and engaging with other people. Maybe you wonder, how do I even change my name on there? How do I mute myself? How do I adjust all these different things? Well, I'm here today just to share a little bit, and I would much rather give you this great presentation and all these great graphics. Sometimes it's just more helpful to ask the question and be able to answer it for somebody. So let's figure out, what are the biggest barriers to Zoom? Well, sometimes it is starting out. Before, you got to make sure that you've charged your device, right? You need to have your cord, whether it's your phone, whether it's your computer. And it's just a smart idea, because when you run out of power, there's panic, right? We know that. So the next thing is, have your charging cable nearby if you do not have it plugged in, just in case. You're going to log in. You're going to want to have some water. Even though I do a lot of talking, I still get a little nervous, so I always like to have some water. Usually it looks a little better if you have a straw in it. If you, instead of the water bottle where you're kicking it back, a coffee mug is always classy, right? Like the morning talk shows. Do people watch morning talk shows anymore? I wonder. So you want to have your telephone or your video ready, and visual with lighting. Right now, I've got the window is on the opposite side of me. If I turn it around, I just don't want to make you dizzy, but you would not be able to see me. And I'll have some pictures that I'll post that'll show you the differences. So I do get, obviously, the reflection off my glasses. That's a downside, but it's also the reality. If you clean your glasses, and I do like to use a little bit of a lens cleaner, and I just spray it on to make sure that I don't have too much gunk. I just got the Walmart kind because that's where I was that day and I needed some. I don't really care for the smell of it. I'm sure you can pay a lot more money and get something with a better scent, but I try to not have too many chemicals. So if you have vision as we age, then you might just need to get glasses. Occasionally people contacts, but I think the eyes just dry out, right? So that makes it a little bit harder. The next thing, other than lighting, is moving on to the camera angle. Now I'm going to show you that I am right now at about the height of the camera. If I take the whole system up high, and I'm going to take it up there, and then you're going to be basically like looking down at me, then it's just a whole different perspective, right? And you can't even see me. So the nice space to come to is when your shoulders and your chest and head are nicely centered in the frame. If we take it down too low, like a lot of people like to hold their phone down there, and then you're basically like looking up my nose, which is also not pleasant, right? Have you had the people that have done that, of you're basically, yeah. Or you kind of look like a giant and the ratio is a little bit out. I don't know, does that work for you or not? So we talked a little bit about lighting, a little bit about camera angle, keeping your background clear of too much clutter. Now, if I showed you around, which I can spin you around and I can show you my clutter. And there's a reason that I am at the angle that I'm at. So we want to make sure this is at a good spot, that you can see me. Am I centered again, right? And so if I get out of the way, you can see, oh, I've got some stuff over there. I can spin you around. The dog just jumped out of the way. Here is what the backlighting looks like. And I do have a very nice camera, so it makes it harder, but it changes the lighting on my face, right? That makes a very big difference in how people see you. So that gives you that perspective. I'm just going to spin you around. Hope you don't get too dizzy in case anybody watches. And then the clutter, if I were to really angle it down, you could see, oh, this is my messy desk. A little bit of a bamboo plant, a little bit of green in nature always makes it nice. And lots of sticky notes, lots of stuff, right? So we want people to be able to focus on our faces Luckily, we don't have to wear masks when we're on Zoom, so that's a positive. I did not do full makeup today, just being real, keeping it easy. And what to wear. So we talked about the camera angle, we talked about clearing the clutter a bit. And if you have a super busy pattern on your top, it's going to be a little bit distracting. If you have lights flashing and lights glaring and blaring, that's going to be more difficult. And so usually they say a solid background, a not too busy. You know, some people like to put their bookshelves and let you see what they're reading. That's okay too. But darker colors, if you're wearing the navy blue, the black, or a neutral gray, you just don't want anything to wash you out. And talk about gray, right? I've got a little bit of gray happening here. So there are cog settings that you can set, and that is how you can change your video. But I don't want to bore you too much with screen sharing because we've probably got enough of that. You can mute yourselves. I guess I could briefly do a little bit of that. Let's take it to a screen share. And let's see if it will let me. I think that's only going to show me Facebook, so that's not going to help at all. So if I just want to share my desktop, what will that show? That is not what I want it to see. Nope, it just takes me right to Facebook. So did not work at all, but that's the good theory. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing. If you could see it, and I guess I could just turn my camera around. Luckily, I have this handy little handheld camera. Okay, here is the bottom of your screen on Zoom. If you click the button there, you can mute your. Whoops, I had muted myself. Isn't that hilarious that I had muted myself? So I didn't mean to, but if you need to change your settings, you're going to go there. If you need to change something on your video, your regular camera is going to be here, and your regular, I have a specialty camera here. If you want to get crazy and put in a background filter, you can do that. And you can blur yourself. And I'm probably going to stop screen sharing because I know that makes people a little bit dizzy. So there was my awkward video. Oh, I did blur myself. So now you can see everything in the background is blurred. You can also do those kind of crazy virtual backgrounds. I find them personally distracting, especially once you get glare off of the glasses. If someone moves too quickly, then they start to kind of disappear. So I personally prefer, if someone really likes one, that they can try the blur, but you have to work on a lot of self-discipline to be very still to not make people dizzy. So anyway. All right, so the audio. What is truly a courtesy is to mute yourself when you're not talking, anytime. Just the courtesy for everybody, because there's a dog barking, there's a setting, you can adjust that as well on Zoom, but if you want to just keep it simple, that is okay. And unmute before you talk. So it's kind of getting oriented to where on your device, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, or the computer, and where that is going to be located so you can easily mute. When you mute, it'll show you in that either bottom left corner or top right corner that you are muted. I think that's really about it. So you can change your name if you go up to view. Let's see, is it going to be on speaker, gallery? There's no gallery because it's just me. And usually there's 3 little dots. If you click on the dots, it'll say rename, and you can change your name. Right now, mine comes up as Community Bloom. Looking for glasses, that's always fun when we're over a certain age, right? So let's see, if we take it on that, and if we go up here, and usually it's in participants, and that is me. And I just went to participants, and I clicked my name, and I'm going to rename myself, and it's going to come up as Hillary Backlit. Then hopefully on the bottom corner, you will get to see that it has my full name, Hillary Backlit, at that. So You might wonder, why is she doing this and what is Community Bloom? We totally are an organization that we're geared to helping women grow in confidence, write their next chapter, give themselves permission to bloom and move forward in next steps in life. Still working on reworking that tagline. If you have suggestions, you can put it in the comments. What would be a good tagline for empowering women? I learned that a lot of people don't like the term midlife. They don't like to say I'm in midlife, or they say I'm not there yet, or I'm already past it. So it's kind of funny that midlife is not a point in time, a day, or a year. It is truly sometimes a few decades, and it's a beautiful thing. So I want you to be confident, I want you to be ready to, hey, I could get on screen and I could feel more confident. And I don't want to have the camera too high so that I look really tiny. I don't want to have it too low so that you're looking at my nose. I usually want to have it about 3 feet, which is about arm's length. You know how people do selfies at arm's length. And it's usually at about eye level. So I hope those are some tips to grow your confidence in Zoom. I'm Hillary Baggett with Community Bloom. Hope you reach out soon.